but what are you working on gear wise, and what would you know, how did you start with it? Because, you know, and where are you at now with your gear? Because I'm kind of in this hybrid zone of like organically doing it versus like machine doing it. So where are you at?
Yeah, and when I first got serious about coffee, I got a Moka pot, which is what, you know, all the Italian coffee makers, if they're not using an espresso machine, they're probably going to use the Moka pot. It's just a stovetop pot. So I started out doing that, and that's, again, sort of a, you know, there's no machine involved in making your cup of coffee there. That was a lot of fun, but then I started hearing about how wonderful the AeroPress was, and I heard about it for a long time, thought, well, they must be expensive if they're that good. They're like $40. You can buy them at all kinds of different places. They're just made of plastic. They're actually made so that you can make a cup of coffee when you're out camping or hiking. So they just happen to make an amazing cup of coffee. But the idea was just for you to be able to do it out in the middle of the bush, still have a decent cup of coffee instead of having to tough out instant coffee while you're camping. So for $40, $45, this thing, I mean, you talk about those coffee contests, they have AeroPress contests around the world, and this is probably my favorite piece of my favorite coffee tool, the AeroPress. But the other one that I've been playing with the last 6 months or so is a Chemex. It's just a glass.
Had one today.
You know what I'm talking about. For people that don't know, it's what they call a pour over. So you basically pour the water into the filter and it drips down into this big jug. That's what a pour over is. And the type I have is a Chemex just because it looks cool. And it was designed by this dude who was actually a scientist, I believe, back in the early 1900s. So it just looks really cool sitting on the kitchen counter. That's kind of why I got that. I kind of geeked out. As it turns out, it's a lot of fun trying to make coffee on that too. But if I'm going to make espresso or cappuccino, I have a Breville machine as well that I've been playing with. So it's become a hobby. The cup of coffee is always great, but I enjoy the process of weighing out the beans on a scale and making sure the water is at the right temperature and whatever you have to do with the espresso machine. I still fuck that up all the time. Every single batch of beans I bring home, you need to grind them a different way, so you waste a bunch of cups. But it's a fun process. It keeps me out of trouble too.